back here on the Rich Eisen Show after another stellar Jim Mora Celebrity Golf Classic for his Count on Me Foundation. The 10th annual just took place, and for our radio audience, we just saw one of two fun TV show pieces on the day. Good to see you, Jim
Rich,
Mora.
thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm great.
Now, you were in the green room with Miles Jack, that I know.
I was. It was. It wasn't fun, but it was interesting, and I was glad I was there to kind of help him through a very disappointing night. And the great thing, though, is he ended up in Jacksonville, which is really where he wanted to be. And they had a great draft with Jalen Ramsey and then Miles, and he's playing for a man that I know very well, Gus Bradley.
Sure.
And I think he's going to have a great career. I think he's very, very motivated to maybe show those teams that passed him over, what they're going to miss.
Yeah, and I saw what you did. We talked about it on this show. We showed it during the draft that you wrote on a piece of paper for Miles the draft positions of some all-time greats. Now, did you have that, knowing that it's possible that Miles was going to drop? Did you have that in your back pocket, or did you
like? No,
okay.
I had a feeling that he might drop. I'd talked to Gus that morning and just gotten some information on the medical, further information. And the NFL is conservative, and when something like that comes out, guys tend to fall, and I was afraid it might be Miles. So just did some prep work and had some names of some guys, Aaron Rodgers and Troy Polamalu and Dan Marino and Randy Moss, that had dropped in the draft, but are still guys that are either in the Hall of Fame or will be in the Hall of Fame. And I just felt like Miles kind of needed that, and he would need it at some point during the day.
Now, well, how did he take that, though? I mean, was it like, thanks, coach? And
I prepped him beforehand. I said, Miles, okay, if you fall, here's how we have to act. Because you're going to eventually get drafted. And when you get drafted, your face is going to be on TV, and the perception that you give the fans to that new city that you're going to has to be one of excitement and enthusiasm and energy, and not disappointment, because that's their first look at you, and you have to let them know that you are excited to be coming to Jacksonville, regardless if it was the first round or the second round.
Right, and so he's fine now, right? Like
he's great.
That's what he's saying, and that's what I'm hearing. Like right now, he can ball out for Jacksonville today. If there was a game today, he's going full speed.
He'll be the Rookie of the Year, Rich. You watch. You watch. He's so motivated. He's such a great athlete, such a great player, such a hard worker, has a passion for the game that's unmatched, and he's fine. But it's the future that they were worried about. And when you're making such a heavy investment in a player monetarily, you have to really be cautious.
Well, you've been on the other side of this thing.
Many
this is the
times.
interesting thing is you just experienced it as the college coach of the guy who has the medical red flag, to use the phrase that they use in the parlance of the NFL evaluation community. But so walk me through what is going on with a coach who I'm sure Gus Bradley is like, I love this guy.
Yes, he does.
And he's pounding the table. Yeah. But there's Dave Caldwell. Is there an actual doctor?
There is. Okay. Yeah, these guys, if they have a problem at the combine, then they go back to Indianapolis for a medical recheck. And when they did the recheck, his knee wasn't, what they wanted it to be. And you're talking about a $20 million plus investment in a guy when you take him in the first round. And so a doctor will step in and say, hey, this, in your final draft meetings, this is what I project could potentially happen with his knee. And it scares coaches away, it scares owners away, it scares general managers away, because you're making such a heavy investment. But they got a great player. Miles, he lost some money, that day, but he'll make it up in his career. I have no doubt that this is going to be one of the great ones in this league. I mean, I've been lucky to be around great athletes, as you know.
Yes,
Jerry, 19 Hall of Famers I've been involved with.
Vic.
Mike Vick.
Yeah.
And I think the greatest athletes, not necessarily the greatest players, but the greatest athletes I've been around in my career are Mike Vick, Julius Peppers, and Miles Jack. That's pretty, that's pretty good company right there. No doubt. The kid could probably be a Pro Bowler at running back or at linebacker. So. And
you mentioned Jalen Ramsey. You heard about he's got Well, they say it's a small tear in the meniscus, but that sounds like you're just a little bit pregnant,
well, that's what Miles had. Miles had that. A small tear in his meniscus is what happened to him on our practice field. When he banged knees. So. Yeah, these things that seem minor, all of a sudden they become something major.
Well, what Dante Fowler Jr.
I know.
First practice, that happened. What is Gus Bradley thinking today?
Well, I hope.
What do you think he's going through
Gus
right
is
now?
the eternal optimist, so I'm sure he's, he thinks everything will be okay. But I'm sure at some point you start to feel like maybe you're snake bit. You go back and you reevaluate everything that you're doing. But sometimes it's just you get unlucky, and things like that happen. Hopefully Jalen will be okay. He's a great player. He's a great kid. I think Gus has got it going in the right direction. He's got a quarterback that's going to play well. He really added to his defense this year in the draft. He's a defensive guy.
They pounded the defense in their draft because the offense, with the Allens and with Blake Bortles, and then they added, You know, obviously T.J. yelled into the mix. They've got my guy Shoelace from Michigan who can run the ball.
My guy Mercedes Lewis from UCLA.
True. Very good. Look at you. I like that. So I'm here with Jim Mora from UCLA here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you answered one of the things I was going to ask you as you sat down off camera, that just thinking about it, this had to be the first draft you physically have been to.
Yeah, I've been in 25 or 26 draft rooms where you're on one end of the phone talking to New York, now Chicago, but I'd never been at the draft in the green room.
What'd you think of the Dog and Pony Show?
I thought it was amazing. I loved it. And I hope that I can go every year with a potential first-round pick from UCLA, and I think that there's a chance that I'll be able to. But I thought the NFL does an amazing job with that event. It's a spectacle, and it should be. You know, this is the highlight of these young men's career. And unfortunately, you know, I saw some things in that room. Fortunately and fortunately, there are learning moments for my players.
Like what?
Well, the Tunsil thing. You know, that was really amazing to kind of experience that with him. Now, I wasn't at his table, but I was 30 feet away watching it unfold. And so to be able to go back to my players and say, okay, this is why we talk about decision-making, and this is why we talk about the dangers of social media. This is a bright, shining example of what can happen to you if you make bad decisions and you get involved with social media, or you involve yourself with the wrong people. So, you know, and with Miles, you know, this is a guy that our players loved, and they thought he's going to go fifth. And, you know, you understand how fragile this career can be in the NFL. And so it pounds the point home to your players of the importance of an education and the importance of networking and setting yourself up for a life after football, because you never know when that career is going to end.
Who was around Tunsil?
Everybody. I mean, you know, you've probably never been in the green room.
I've never been in the green room because I'm sitting on the set.
Well, you're sitting at these tables, and you can tell what's about to happen because all the cameras, the action goes to this place. So about round pick 3, all the action's over at Tunsil's table. But Bosa gets picked, okay? And then the action's still at Tunsil's table. And then who got picked 4th? I'm not sure who got picked 4th.
Elliott. Zeke. Yeah.
Oh, you did do some prep work today. Okay, nice job.
I've been in the green room multiple times, too. But yes, I did a little prep work.
And then all the actions at Tunsil's table, and then Jalen Ramsey gets picked. And so I walk over there to his agent, who's a friend of mine. I say, what's going on? And he tells me, I go, oh, God.
So did you start looking at the video on the phone yourself?
No, I didn't. What I thought was really sad was that this kid, he was unprepared after he got drafted for the press conference, which I thought was a major fail on a lot of people's part. I don't think anyone should ever put him up in front of the media knowing what they knew. So they had to know that his Instagram was hacked. They had to know that he was going to be asked tough questions, and he wasn't prepared for it. And what was supposed to be this great moment in his life turned into kind of a spectacle that he was at the center of.
But what are you supposed to do? Just say he's not going to talk tonight? And
Yeah, I know, and I know the media doesn't want to hear that. You know, the fans don't want to hear that because, you know, everybody wants to the drama. But I think you have to think about the kid. And did he make bad decisions? Absolutely, he made bad decisions. But does he need to live out those bad decisions in front of a national television audience? Personally, I don't think so. You know, I think he needs counsel, he needs help, and then he can go in front of the media with some prepared answers. You're talking about a 20, 21-year-old kid. He hasn't been in that environment. I mean, you're sitting there. It's a huge event.
Yes.
And I thought it was really, really a sad deal for him. And I think he'll recover. And I'm not absolving him. He made those decisions.
Sure did.
He made those decisions, but someone needed to help him once it came to light.
Certainly, since there was somebody out there who was looking to do him.
Oh, somebody was after him big time.
Coach, I want to know who that person is.
Well, I think that they know now.
You think they know
I think that they know. I won't say, but I've heard from pretty good sources that they do know who it was. And it was someone that he had shunned. I don't believe it was his stepfather or anything like that, but I think they know who it was.
Do you think they know who it was?
Yeah.
I've got Jim Mora here on the Rich Eisen Show. We're going to take a break, 60 seconds. I want to ask you about the Goff-Wentz equation that everybody had play out there. And then there's another quarterback in the draft that I would like you to evaluate for me. It's Christian Hackenberg.
Really?
Okay, yes. I'd like to do that. And then there's also, I might overshare. I had a dream the other night.
I heard.
And
I had that job once.
You were in it.
You better be careful what you wish for, what you dream about.
Jim Mora is here. We'll also talk about the 10th annual Jim Mora Celebrity Golf Classic that just went down for the Count on Me Foundation. That's all coming up next here on The Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to The Rich Eisen Show. UCLA football head coach Jim Mora, friend of the program and a friend right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I was at the first Count on me, correct? First
you were,
couple
as a matter of
back
fact,
in
you were
Atlanta.
the top celebrity. You were the marquee name at the very first one at
Yeah.
Sugarloaf Country Club
I remember.
in Duluth,
It's
Georgia.
hot as all get out.
It was hot.
And
fun.
I made the mistake, Jim, at the first Jim Mora Celebrity Golf Classic, which, if I'm not also mistaken, was won by your dad and the
My
group.
dad's won a few. He's been 10,
Okay.
and I think he's won.
I made the
won
mistake
6.
of going up to senior and asking him if the best stick in his golf bag was his pencil, and checked the eraser on the pencil in front of him. Man, was he pissed.
Yeah, well, he doesn't take this. You know, he's competitive. Now, he didn't play this year.
Yeah.
So here's an 80. He's going to be 81 next week.
Wow.
And he had shoulder replacement surgery 2 weeks ago because his golf swing was so bad. And he's, you know, most guys would just, I think at 81, they might just kind of
Hang
play
him
it
up.
out, you
Yeah,
know,
play
it out. And he says, I'm getting my shoulder replaced. I won't be able to play this year, but I'll be back stronger than ever next year.
So he's rehabbing right now?
He's rehabbing. He tells me about it yesterday. I got, 5 times a day I have to do my exercise, and then I ice, and next week I'm going to be on the recumbent bike, and I'm making my comeback, and he's like focused on that rehab.
Maybe we should send a camera to watch the rehab.
It would be like a Rocky thing. I think you'd play the music, and you just because eventually he'd be running up the stairs.
Yeah, he'll be in the desert chasing the rooster.
He's
chasing the
great.
rooster.
Oh, he's so competitive.
I love it. So, and again, this is for the Count on Me Foundation.
Yes.
For those who don't know about it, let's walk everybody through.
Well,
this,
it's a
Coach.
foundation that we started 10 years ago in Atlanta. We thought we had a platform as the head coach of the Falcons to, interest people in some things that we were interested in.
You and Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon's always been involved with Special Olympics and CASA, and she's been an advocate for children her whole life. And we felt like we could do some things to help children at risk and in need, and we're doing that. We raised, well over $600,000 this year in this year's tournament.
Wow, good for
and
you.
that money will go to children's programs around the country. We're still in Atlanta. We're still in Seattle. We do some things in North Carolina. We're actually in 7 states with our own programs, which is holiday shops and buses to the bowl and youth football leagues and things like that. But we also fund other programs around the country that help kids in need. So it's a pretty neat deal.
CountOnMeFoundation.org to get involved in this fantastic cause. The 10th annual Jim Mora Celebrity Golf Classic just went down right here, and there were some great people. You had Aikman.
Troy's great. Troy comes out, and it's fun because we
Ogden.
had Jonathan, but we also had some Trojans. Leinart was out there. You saw Marcus Allen was out there. Yeah. It's just really a neat event. Dick Butkus is there.
Now, Dick Butkus playing golf, right?
Crudgety old. He's got this little fart thing that he carries with him all the time and tries to embarrass.
What? Really?
Whoopee cushion thing. He's just funny. He's a good guy. Richard Dent's there. You saw David Justice, John C. McKinley, who's one of my favorite actors of all time, obviously Platoon. And, he's very involved with Special Olympics as well.
Yes.
And so we've kind of formed a partnership there. And you saw the Laird Hamilton thing that I was driving.
The surfboard. He's come on this show to promote the surfboard / golf bag, golf cart.
Yeah.
That he's
Well,
got
see, John
going.
and Laird are really good friends.
Yeah,
and so it's a really fun day. And, you saw Marshall, obviously you've worked with forever, great golfer, competitive.
He taught himself. You know that, right? He never picked up a stick until he went to San Diego State.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's such a great athlete and such a competitive and focused guy.
Well, and it was funny how one of the Chris Command Center asked you when we showed the piece and we saw Marshall asked, what did Marshall shoot? And I'm like, he won't tell you.
No, he won't tell you. But he
will not tell you.
I know this. He was playing with the guys he was playing with. There's some Seattle guys, some Microsoft, the president of Microsoft actually, and they said, "Hey, he's really a good player."
He is. He can give shots back, but he won't tell you that. He won't tell you that. Jim Mora here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so let's talk about the Goff Wentz decision that the LA Rams, the professional team here in this town, made. Do you think they made the right decision?
I do. I do. And I obviously know Jared Goff better than Wentz because I played against him 3 times. And I had not really spent a lot of time with him until we were at the draft. And I got to spend some time with him and his mom and his dad and his sister. And I was really impressed with the family and really impressed with his maturity and the way he was handling things. I think he's a good player. What I like about Jared is his demeanor. When you watch him, he's very poised. If things are going well, he stays even-keeled. If things are not going well, he stays even-keeled and in control. And I think that's a great quality and a necessary quality for a quarterback. I think he's a good decision-maker. Wentz, I didn't watch as much, but I'm happy for the Rams. I'm happy for Goff. I think he's going to be a good player. I don't know if he's going to be a great player, but I think he's going to be a solid player they can win with.
What if the veteran that you had on the team, after drafting somebody like Carson Wentz, we know you got to redshirt him, says, I'm so upset I might not show up. I want to trade like Bradford. How would you handle that?
I mean, fortunately, he came to his senses. I think that, that's not the type of attitude that you should, exude. I think if you're a competitor, you say, bring it on, and then down the road, if I don't win the job, maybe you'll trade me or, I'll have value somewhere else. I just think that to me is a little bit of a red flag as to character. And so as a general manager or head coach, you might, your antennas might go up and you say, well, we might have to make a tough decision here with this guy, if that's the way he's going to be, because the one thing you don't want in your locker room is a negative influence.
So how do you handle that then?
Well, I think you sit him down, you have a talk, you say, okay, if this is how you truly feel, then maybe we will move you. Because if you can't be supportive of this rookie, if you can't compete against him and still be supportive of him, then I'm not going to have a cancer in my locker room. And I'm not saying that Sam Bradford will be a cancer in the locker room, because I think he's a really good guy, and I think he was affected by it. But those are the delicate situations you deal with in pro football.
But that's that right there. It's not as if he's walking around the locker room mopey-faced.
If he's not, then he's okay.
But he's also released a thought in everybody else's head that he might not be when you're in that huddle, in the foxhole, if you will.
Right. You want everybody on your team fully committed, fully invested in what you're doing, whether he's a backup or a starter. Everybody has to make the same investment. And if you, as a teammate, feel that one guy is kind of half in and half out, then what happens, honestly, is the locker room kind of alienates him. They shun him. And a lot of times, if you're in a strong locker room, the locker room will take care of itself. The leaders on that team will say, you're either with us or you're out. And if you're not with it, get out. So I don't know what's going to happen with Sam. I've always had a lot of respect for Sam. I think he's very smart. I think his feelings were hurt, and hopefully he recovers from this and competes and does well and ends up having a great career.
Jim Mora here on the Rich Eisen Show. So after Goff and Wentz go, then Paxton Lynch is acquired by Denver via trade. And then the fourth quarterback selected in the draft from Penn State, Christian Hackenberg. Now, I ask your evaluation of Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, I didn't watch him a lot. I watched those other guys a lot. But, I think coming out of Penn State, obviously a great program. I trust the evaluations of the experts. So if the experts that drafted him evaluated him and think that he can come in and be a good quarterback for them, then you got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
51st overall is what he was.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I understand with him that, some of the thing is maybe attitude-based rather than talent-based. I think as a quarterback, you're the focal point of your organization, so everything that you say is over-evaluated, and you have to be very careful how you present yourself to the public. And if you present yourself in the wrong way before the draft, teams are going to get scared off a little bit.
So did you say that because you just don't want to be on Chris Law's
I don't want to be on the list, man.
I agree.
My whole goal in life is to stay off lists.
No lists.
And not screw it up.
Don't do lists.
I mean, if you look at his numbers compared to your quarterback in his freshman year, who had a fantastic freshman year, I mean, 23 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for Rosen, 20 and 11
we just keep
for
track of
Hackenberg.
wins.
Yeah, I like that.
The numbers the completion percentage is only a percentage off.
How many wins did Penn State have his freshman year?
They were 8-5.
Okay, that's what we were. So yeah, very similar.
So similar, and it didn't get much better.
But that was his freshman year.
Under sanctions and lost scholarships and stuff.
Oh gosh.
I think a lot of general managers, they want to see progress. They want to know where the ceiling is.
Jared Goff just went 1 overall, and he has a losing record as a starting quarterback.
I know he does, but he has tremendous amount of untapped potential and ability. And like I said, he has that demeanor, and he has those leadership qualities. And when you watch him on TV, and there was a game, and I think against Utah, where he threw 5 interceptions, and you saw a guy that never lost his cool. He stayed poised. He competed to the end. He never blamed his teammates. He accepted responsibility. Those are all things that general managers are looking for. They also want to know where the ceiling is. I was lucky I worked with Bill Walsh, who was a quarterback guru.
Right.
And Bill was always, okay, I want to know where this guy's going to be 3 games in, 6 games in, 2 years in, 5 years in, 8 years in. Who's he going to be? Where's his ceiling? And if his ceiling is low and he's about to bump up into the ceiling, then, we might stay away from him. And we might take a guy whose ceiling's a little bit higher. So I think that they saw a guy like Goff, and they said, this guy's got a high ceiling.
Where if your guy Rosen was available in the draft this year, where would he go?
In my opinion?
In your opinion?
In my opinion, he was the best quarterback in the draft, and he would have gone first. And I know that is really a strong statement for a true freshman, but I've never, well, I shouldn't say never. I've been around Peyton when he was that age. I can't remember ever seeing anybody at his age with the arm talent, the intelligence, the decision-making, the drive, the passion, and the ability that he has.
Plus, now, for anybody out there who thinks this is a coach pounding the table for his guy.
I'm not.
But well, that's the thing that I'm pointing out is that you want to make sure that this kid's head stays screwed on straight.
Yes.
And so for you to say something like that,
but I talked to him about this. Yeah, and I'm going to say it publicly because I believe it, but with this disclaimer, unless he continues to work hard and unless he makes good decisions and unless he dedicates himself the way that guys like Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Peyton Manning have, then it's a pipe dream. You know, and I've asked him this. I said, who do you want to be? Do you want to be Johnny Manziel or do you want to be Tom Brady? And you need to make that decision right now, and you need to start working in the direction that you want to work in. So if you're going to go out on Donald Trump's golf course, and you're going to, do you see this, the Twitter shot? Wear a hat that says F Trump. I said, you're heading towards Johnny Manziel. So let's head towards Peyton Manning. Let's head towards Tom Brady. Let's head towards Troy Aikman, who spent an hour with him on Sunday, which was fantastic, talking to him about, you know, the responsibilities of being a quarterback. Let's head towards Drew Brees, you know, those guys. So, you know, fortunately, I've known Josh since he was young, have a tremendous relationship, can talk to him very candidly, close to his mom and dad and his whole family. And, you know, I've just got to try to do the best I can to turn him towards Brady and those guys and keep him away from, you know, the Johnny Manziel types.
Jim Mora here on the Rich Eisen Show. One more segment with us, if you don't mind?
All day.
Thank you so much.
Until Dan Patrick gets here, yeah.
Now, Dan, I think, is walking through that door, to use the Rick Pitino phrase. I think he's going to be walking through that door shortly. But Jim Mora is here, and I do need to talk to you about my dream.
You need some advice. Although I don't know if I've been fired twice. How can I give you any advice?
It's okay. It's okay. And have we come up with a poll question, or are you benched?
No, I got one.
Okay, that's next here on the Rich Eisen Show with Jim Mora before Dan Patrick walked through that door.
44 minutes in, we got a poll.
Dream, dream, dream.
Well done.
We know what we're doing over
Before we do that, I dream that Chris Brockman thought up a poll question.
I got one.
What do you got? Go for it, richeisenshow.com.
Well, Jim Mora does not want to be on the list. But my question for you all, America, is do you want to be on Chris Law's Hackenberg list?
That's your poll question?
Yeah.
So basically, it's all of America and international.
Internationally. Do you want to be on the list?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? The list is blowing up.
Brought to you by TrueCar. Save time and money by downloading TrueCar's mobile app. Configure the new car you want, see what others paid for it, and get guaranteed savings. TrueCar users save on average over $3,000 off MSRP. Save time and save money. Download the TrueCar app today. You just laid it up. Keep laying up today,
By the way,
Brockman. Keep laying it up.
Early results, it's 50-50.
People, they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do.
Just talk to Scrap. Scrap knows.
Scrap knows.
Scrap knows that you don't want to be on the list.
No, you don't want to be on the list.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on any list at Penn State right now.
Yes! Put him on the list! Fantastic.
That might get him on the list.
Turning my mic off.
Jim Mora here. Before I let you go, sir. So the other night I go to sleep, have no idea that I was going to dream a dream where I was named the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. No disrespect to Dan Quinn. I don't know what happened. But you were there at the press conference, beaming. And I was thrilled because you were essentially going to be the coach of the team, and I was going to be the figurehead to help spearhead the Atlanta Falcons.
That's quite a dream.
That was the dream. Then I woke up and I thought to myself, that's bizarre. That's strange. Mentioned it to these two guys. They say you have to mention it on the air. I mentioned it on the air, and then Dan Quinn tweeted at me.
Did he?
Yes. Do we have that tweet to show Coach here? At what is it? At Coach at here it is. Yeah, Falcons DQ. Hey, at Rich Eisen, I heard you had a dream about being the HC. Here's your invite. Come to the aid during camp and see if you can hang.
That's DQ. That's my guy.
Hashtag rise up.
You know, I hired him in the NFL.
I know, right?
Youngster out of Austria, yeah, and he's done an amazing job. He's a perfect coach. Not that you wouldn't be.
No, thank you.
But I think he is. I think, You know, I think that you would be the guy that would come in and maybe give some of the motivational speeches when it's 4th and 1.
Yes.
You know, because you're a great decision maker, make the right decision.
Thank you.
And then certainly you'd be perfect in front of the media.
Yeah, you know I would handle that.
You would handle that.
My problem is I'd say victory Monday lasts to Thursday. that would
See
be
you
my...
guys Friday. We'll get a little work in Friday, and Saturday we'll play again Sunday.
Yeah, just roll the balls out.
Would Rich open up the DVD?
What's that now?
Would he open up the DVD?
You're talking about the Mike Vick DVD that he's put money in? No.
Would Rich
I don't think
open
he
it up?
would.
No.
No, I think he'd play the game, and then he'd go have a glass of red wine, and then we'd see you on Thursday.
That's now, couldn't you coach in the NFL doing that for a couple of weeks? Just what do you think?
No.
Not even 2 weeks? No. I couldn't even be 1-1 in the 2-week period coaching the NFL?
Who's your quarterback? Yeah, with Matt Ryan. Maybe.
Christian Hackenberg's my quarterback.
No. Not as a rookie. Not as a rookie.
You're
No,
on the
not as a
list.
rookie. Not as a rookie. In his second year, maybe.
Come on.
CountOnMeFoundation.org. Join it. Jim, say hi to Shannon
Rich,
for me,
thank
please.
you,
Will you,
pal.
please?
You too, Todd.
Thanks for coming in. Jim Mora here. Dan Patrick coming up next, hour 2.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.